Okay, this video is going to be about second block fluidity, and what that means is doing the second block without pausing. So this is very vital if you want to have a fast second block. How fluid your second block is depends on how much you plan an inspection and what you do while you're solving your first block. So you don't want to be just blindly solving your first block and then starting second block without knowing where any of your pieces are. So what you want to do is while you're solving the first block, be looking for second block pieces while you're doing it. And to do that, you have to be very familiar with the pieces that make up your second block. So in this example, I'll be showing it all with blue first block. So these are the second block pieces. You have to have these 5 memorized, and you have to be searching for them while you're executing the blue block. So this is the most vital piece, the one that goes at DR, because you'll be inserting this and then 2 pairs, or this with a corner and then this edge. So if you can already plan out where this is going to be in inspection, then that's great. It's going to make your second block a lot more fluid, and you should definitely be trying to do that. So while you're practicing inspection, try to make your goal to be able to plan where this is going to end up, but most people can't do that. So what you're going to do to look for this is, as you're solving, here, I'll just scramble. Okay, I'll just plan the blue block. So we have a pair here. This inserts in one move, and then I'll insert the pair D prime U F prime, make the square, and then these 2. So then right now, as I'm doing the last pair, I'll be looking for the green-white edge, and I see it's right here, so I know that I'm going to insert it with an R prime. Like that. And then, as I was doing this, I was able to see the next 2 pieces I was going to solve. So instead of doing R prime, I would do R wide prime, and I'll be talking a little more about how to influence the next pieces, like in a couple of minutes. So I did R wide prime to put this edge down here. Now I know I'm going to solve this. And then as I'm inserting this corner has been here the whole time, ever since I brought this down. And this edge has been on the top layer, so it's now really easy to see where these are going to go, because I'm going to insert this with R U prime, and then I knew these were going to end up like this, so I can do R wide prime, and then pair them up like that, and then insert them in the back. So that would have been really fluid, and I'll show you how you're going to do that. Like I said before, you want to be really familiar with the pieces that make up your second block, and what you want to be good at is to know your color scheme. I don't mean like know, white, if white's on top, blue's on left, orange is on front. I mean, like, if you see a corner like this one right here, and you see it has red on top and green on this side, then this has to be white. And so you don't waste time looking at the back to check if it's yellow. Because if you learn how to do this, then you can see what color this sticker is, what color this sticker is. I know this is yellow, and I look at this, I know this is also yellow, so I basically never have to look at the back for corners. And if you track where the edges are going, you basically never have to look at the back for edges either. And same with the bottom, because once you insert the green-white edge here, the only possible spots for edges are the 4 on the front, and you should be able to track where this piece goes. And then the 4 on top, those are easy. The back one, you should be able to track that when you're inserting. And yeah, so then you basically never have to look at the back and the bottom if you know which which corners, like the color scheme of your cubes. So looking at this from this angle, I immediately know this is white. And that doesn't mean you have to memorize the position of every piece and what it looks like, but you can use a few tricks. For example, this one I knew it was white because right before you insert this with RU prime R prime to the solve position, when it's here, it's red top, green front. So then for whenever it's red top on the U layer anywhere, I know that green should be here. So when I do U prime, green's here. When it's in the back, green's there. And over here, green's there. All from this one position that I know. And similarly, if it's green top, before the insert, it looks like this, and I know that because that's what it looks like when you take it out after it's solved. So then I know when green's top, whenever it's on the U layer, red's going to be here, a U prime, it's going to be there, U2, the red's there, and U, the red is there. And then using these simple tricks, you can get to know which piece is which from any angle. And then the only problem is edges, because if you have like something green like this, you don't know if this is red, this is orange, or this is yellow. In this case, it's yellow. But the important part is that you be looking at edges and where they go. So to track edges, you want to be familiar with the way that common inserts and triggers work. So I'll just like do an example and solve the first block. I already have the square. So once I'm at the last pair, I'll be looking for the green edge. So I saw it stayed back there, so I insert it. So now I have this pair right here. Now I want to insert it with r prime u r, and I saw when I was inserting this that the red-green edge was here, and I know that the moves r prime u r don't affect this piece because all the moves involve the r and u layer, and this is in the bottom. So I know that the edge is going to stay here, so all I need to do is be looking for the corner that matches with it, and that's this one. And if you see from before, it's going to end up in that same place. So if you didn't see that it was here, and this was white before inserting the pair back here, the corner would be back here, and then you wouldn't know if this is white or yellow, and you'd have to peek. But if you know the trick, then you would see that green had to be here, so it has to be in a place that's possible, and this one's actually yellow because the green's on the right and not the left. So then you'd be able to bring it to the front, pair it with the edge, and insert it. Alright, so to practice seeing how common inserts and triggers affect your pieces, mainly the edges that are here and here, just mess around with a cube, take a solved cube, and do the inverses of common inserts. So for example, RU prime, R prime. That's what's used to insert the pair in the front right here. So you do the inverse of it, RU, R prime, and you see that this four-piece block back here, all it does is a U prime to solve. This block, this pair, it goes here and matches with this big chunk, and then those solve in the back. And then this pair right here doesn't move because it goes down, and then you move the top, and then it comes back. And then all the pieces in the bottom, the two edges, stay still. The back pair of first two blocks stays still, and the down right edge stays there. So basically the only pieces you're actually moving are the ones here and on the top, and these four are really easy to track because it's just a U prime. So then you should be able to see where pieces are moving, and if you have this insert and say these pieces are like somewhere else like this, you should know that this chunk does a U prime, so this corner is going to be here, and this goes down, comes back, so then this is going to stay here. So right after inserting this, you should be able to do like that, and then pair them up. Another thing you want to be doing is you want to establish a set way that you solve a specific pair. So for this one, when I have the down right edge solved, the corner inserted, and the edge flipped with the red on top, I see a lot of people doing this inefficiently, like they put the edge there, or like they do something like this and then they split them up. And that's really bad. So for this, what I always do is I do U to put that in the back, R wide, that puts this at the bottom, and then this here, U prime, M to pair them up, and then that just canceled into an insert, so it's UR prime. How is this? Yeah, like that. So the advantage of having a set way to do every single pair is that you get used to the way they affect the pieces on the cube. So from this, I know this corner is going to be somewhere around on the U layer because it's not going to be inserted in the back. And after a second or two after going and starting, I know it's going to be here. And, oh wait, what did I do? Yeah, the corner is going to move here and then here. And then I see the edge, it's going to go there. So yeah, especially for inefficient cases or bad cases, you want to have a set way to do it. There'll be more on efficiency in the next video in the series. But yeah, just you want to have a set way to do things so that you get used to how they affect the cube and you get used to tracking pieces around while solving pairs. A couple last things I want to say before I end this video and maybe do some examples. as long as you don't stop turning during the second block, you don't have to be super efficient. So I know a lot of people say that it's inefficient to insert the down right edge and then do two F2L pairs, but it's not two F2L pairs, so it won't be that efficient. It's two Roux pairs. I think two Roux pairs is like 5 moves per pair, so that's 10 moves, and inserting this is max 3 moves, so that's like 13 moves, and then with AUFs somewhere in there, that's like a 15 move block, which is pretty good. So inserting this before doing anything else is actually really beneficial because it helps a lot with look ahead. And also, if you see something like this, where you have a corner stuck to the edge, while you're inserting it, you can actually influence the next pair. So when instead of doing R2 and then RU prime R prime to set up this case, I would just do R prime U prime to put this corner in the back, so then when I do another R prime, it flips it. And then since I know what R prime U prime R does to the cube, I know this piece is going to stay, and I saw this piece a while ago, so it's just going to be here, so then the rest of the block is that. And another thing, when you're finishing off the first block, second block, what am I saying? Second block, say I'm like this, you don't want to just do an RU R prime. What you want to do is do RU R wide prime to put the white center or the yellow center on top. And what that helps with is CMLL recognition. So if you have like a yellow or a white center on top, it's a little easier to recognize the case. And also, it helps a lot with being able to influence the edge orientation case you get. And also it lets you do things like CMLL-EO, which is doing the corners and flipping the edges at the same time. So like this. So then my last 6 edges is really quick. So that's just something to think about while you're doing second block. It takes a while to get used to, but once you do it, it's really beneficial. So I guess now I'll do some examples. Okay, so I have an example scramble. It'll be on the screen. I checked mine, so I did it right. So I'll do blue block again, because that's what I think most people do. And I'll show you how I look ahead to second block. So I would insert this with a D, like that. And then this blue-red edge is here. And then it can pair with this corner if I bring this up. So I'll do that. And then insert. And then this is the last pair. So then as I'm doing that, I'll be looking for second block pieces. And as I'm doing this M2, to put this edge in the back, I see this green comes into my view. So I'll be solving that as soon as I'm finished. So I'll go like this. And at this point, I see this. And then I remembered the green was there, so I'm going to insert it down here. And this is where the knowing your color scheme comes into play. Orange, green, I know that it inserts from orange here and green is here, so this has to be white, so that's the piece I'm looking for. So then I can influence the pair like this, U prime R, and then that would put this here, and then I can solve this using wide moves, and then insert it in the back. And I know how this wide insert affects the cube. This is going to stay here, this corner is going to be here with white on top. So I saw that, I'm going to flip it and put green there while doing an R wide prime. So now the edge is here, and I remembered since red was here, red is on bottom now, and red is here. So if red is on bottom and I do an M, it's going to pair up with this. And then I'll just insert it in the front. And notice how I was like this, and instead of doing RU R wide prime to put red on top, I did R wide U R prime to keep white on top. So then I can influence edges if I wanted to. And there's the rest of the solve.